Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode. I'm so grateful and excited to be here with you. Thank you for pressing play. I know there's about a million bazillion things you could be doing with your most valuable resource, time. Time is the only finite resource we have, and it's the only one we don't know how much we have of it. So it's pretty incredible. I see you, I honor you, and I thank you. A couple announcements before we go fully into today's topic. Today's topic is juicy, jam-packed, and literally, if you take this information and run with it, your whole life will change, your whole life will accelerate, and truly, you will be revealing light for yourself and a world we're proud of. So, the announcements are if you want to go deeper into this work with me, I have a couple things going on. I have a live breathwork signature masterclass called Cancer Current. It's happening live on June 25th. We are leveraging some of the most powerful, auspicious astrology for abundance of all of 2025. For miracles, for magic, for expansion. So, if you want to come experience what it is to reset your nervous system and manifest using your body as a portal, in divine timing, this class is for you. Link is in the show notes. I'm also leading a summer mastermind. This is for elite high performers. This is for the ambitious mystics who are really doubling down in summer 2025. It's a 90-day soul sprint where we're going to be fully unhinged. We're going to go full ham. We're going to whole ass all summer in momentum, joy, delight, wealth to really just blinders on and build this summer again with the divine timing. So this is invite only. It's an elite space. There are 2 spots left and we start July 1st. So if you're a high performer and you are ready to accelerate in your potential and double down on your destiny this summer and arrive in fall with illogical, new, magnificent results, apply through the link in the show notes. And I will be in touch if you are an aligned fit. And finally, I have one space, just one space open for premium one-on-one mentorship. This is for the unicorn. If you want to meet me all around the world for in-person deep dives, if you want the high performance, if you want a daily personal astrologer, if you're ready to take your success and just 10x it for the next 6 months to a year, this is for you. So apply through the link in the show notes. All right, beautiful souls. Announcements. Now we set the altar, baby. The altar is an ancient code. The altar is ancient technology. It is how we say thank you in advance to spirit. A very, very simple altar today. I have citrine on the altar, activating abundance and prosperity. At the time of this recording, we are sitting in the most prosperous astrology of 2025. I want to remind every single person listening that literally, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what global events are occurring, no matter what chaos is going on around in the human condition, abundance is real, limitless prosperity is now. Miracles are around every corner if you decide to be the grounding place for them. Okay? That's what citrine is bringing to the altar. I have an unscented white candle burning, purifying the space, protecting our brains, our minds, our souls, our hearts, our bodies to connect in divine clarity. And the last piece of the altar is our life force energy. This is how we connect our souls. This is how we tap into the age of Aquarius through our breath and through the technology that we are privileged to connect through with and expand through this podcast is honestly really, really, really amazing. So the times that we're not able to gather in person, the times that we're scattered around the globe, to serve our different communities, to be activated by different land, to just be on the adventure that our soul is calling us to, we get to stay connected using this technology, which is very Atlantean, it's very Aquarian. And Aquarius is fixed air. So let's take 3 deep breaths, no matter where you are, what you're doing, if you're working out, if you're driving, if you are flying on a plane, if you are walking, if you are sitting with a cup of tea, just be here now. The core bedrock of a better world is presence with yourself and the truth of the moment. Depression is when you live in the past. Anxiety is when you live in the future. Happiness is now. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out the mouth. In through the nose. Open your third eye to greater wisdom. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Feel the divine light, white light. Open your aura, open your body, open your heart space. Keep holding your breath because you can. Choose that this contains wisdom, the exact answer your soul is seeking. Exhale out the mouth. If you close your eyes, blink them open. Welcome back to this space, and the transmission is fully begun. Okay, so today's topic is the art of saying no. And this is a topic that it's been on my, so I do a brain dump like pretty regularly. And I actually have this, I'm exposing all of my Virgo placements right now. So just buckle up, fam. Um, I have a whole process and system for capturing downloads and capturing ideas because I am a little idea factory. I'm a little creativity like people consistently comment, they're like, you're a content machine. Like you always are just like blasting out codes and all these things. And I'm like, you literally have no idea what it's like to be inside my brain or like have my channel. It's like what I put out, whether it's emails to my amazing email community, which by the way, if you want those emails, subscribe through the link in the show notes, or a post on social media or a podcast. It's like I'm literally sharing like 5% of what comes through my channel. And obviously my clients get all of me. Obviously not 24/7, but even then it's like I have this this idea capturing system where I brain dump. And the big idea is that our brains are designed to have ideas, not to hold ideas. So you have no idea how much brain power you're using right now just to keep track of things you're trying not to forget. So I highly, highly recommend having some kind of system where you just brain dump. So I go in, I use Asana. It's just a software. I've switched over to more like Google Forms. The thing is, I used notes apps in my phone for a while, but they would just get lost. And then it's like I'm searching through thousands of notes in my phone. I'm like, this isn't productive. This isn't helpful. So I have this brain dump area, and I had the art of saying no on there probably for years. And I was just getting the hit like, oh, now it's time for that episode. So it really is a long time coming for this topic. This is a topic that I have learned so much about in my spiritual path. This is a topic that I have supported so many clients with and still support clients with on the daily. I literally like the more successful you get, so the people that I work with and the people that are building better world, and if you feel attracted to this podcast and you're resonating with my work, with what I do, you're a high performer. Okay? You're a high performer, you're elite, You're here for greatness. You're not here for mediocrity. You're here to create amazing wealth, amazing impact, amazing happiness, amazing fulfillment, amazing joy. Okay. Like, you are not like most people. You're a unicorn. Okay. The more successful you get, the better you must get at the art of saying no. Okay. At a certain point, so the more success you create and the more you deepen on your spiritual path, it's about what you say no to rather than what you say yes to. I think a lot of people, it's like when you start out, you're in your yes season. You're like, I'm saying yes to this and saying yes to this and saying yes to this and saying yes to this. And trust me, your girl has been there. I've done that. And like, first of all, nobody can do everything well. That is a recipe for mediocrity. That's a recipe for half-assing a bunch of things and never becoming world class at what you do. It literally doesn't work. High performance and saying yes to everything are literally the opposite of one another. Okay. You cannot be a jack of all trades, which that's what happens when you say yes to everything. So the example I give for this is you can eat through any amount of exercise or you can spend through any amount of earning power. And I see this all the time. I see this with one of my signature masterminds, the Holy Habits Hive Mind, which, by the way, there's going to be a second round coming in fall of 2025. If you are interested in being on the wait list for that, shoot me an email. My email is in the show notes and just say, hey, I want to be on the Holy Habits wait list. We'll get you on that wait list. The results of this first round are absolutely astronomical. Like, people creating complete lifestyle shifts, losing tons of weight, finally trusting themselves. It's insane. And then creating massive wealth because of their health is on point. It's so magical and amazing. When it comes down to the art of saying no, it's your input is way more important than your output every single time, again and again and again, all day, every day, forever and ever. Amen. Okay. Like, you can eat through any amount of exercise. That means that, like, it doesn't matter your output. You can be exercising a ton. If you're eating through it, it doesn't matter. It's a net zero or a net negative, right? Or you could be an incredible earner, like you earn really well. You're stacking mad cash, but then you spend it all. It's like, okay, well, if you're expending out more, then you're not really receiving the codes of all of these things. So it's really, you've got to focus more on input than output, which that means input, you say no to things. Okay. You say no. And that matters more than what you're putting out. If you manage your input, then your output can be excellent. Your output can be world class. Okay. So you really got to get good at saying no. And there's been something I've been saying lately that has really resonated with what I've been going through and what a lot of my clients have been going through. But it's like, this is the time where you reallocate your fucks. Okay. It's not about giving zero fucks. It's about giving a lot of fucks about a few key things that actually matter to you, that actually move the needle forward for you, for your dreams, for the impact it has in the world, and then giving zero fucks about everything else. So, like that selfie your ex posted with their new partner, like, that's in the zero fucks category. All right. You've got to really hone in and focus, okay? Blinders on and build mode. That's really the vibe. So this is why a lot of great artists and a lot of great high performers, it's like you can't reach them. It's hard to reach them. It's like, let's use an example. Okay, Tim Ferriss, for example, like I would need to work my little booty off to get in touch with him. And I probably would never get in touch with actual him. I would get in touch with his assistant or his manager of his podcast or something. It's like, why does he have barriers up? Because he's got to say no to literally almost everything so he can say yes to the correct things. And he has a filtration system for what can access him so he can stay on point with what matters, so he can stay zeroed in on what he's great at. Okay. All great artists of time. And if you're here, if you're a high performer, you're an artist of life. You literally make magic out of nothing. Artists are builders of worlds. Artists are creators. Artists are like inner children that are, strategically in these adult like personas, but it's like these little kids running around pretending they're adults, just like painting on the canvas of life, like, hey, I'm making this and I'm making this and I'm making this and I'm making this. And that in itself is you're saying no to the status quo. You're saying no to the structures that are here to oppress people. So you really like all great artists, they like go alone for a long time. Writers, they go alone and they're like, I'm saying no to these social things, I'm saying no to this, I'm saying no to that, like walking away from honestly a lot of lucrative opportunities to prioritize your art, prioritize what's important to you. And I love how this is being framed as, and this is the way I got the download, the art of saying no, because it is an art. It is an art. It takes finesse. And when you say no in an artful, aligned way, first of all, people won't like it when you say no. And usually the people that don't like it are the people that have profited off you not having boundaries in the past, people that have, benefited from extracting your life force or just like being able to walk all over you, or maybe you've people pleased or allowed that. Like it's always both sides. The people won't like it. However, they'll respect it. I have noticed every single time I say no, first of all, one of my favorite quotes ever is from Annie Lamott. And she says, no is a complete sentence. Or I heard, oh, who was it? It I think it was Byron Katie. She's famous for the work. If you don't know her whole ecosystem, it's absolutely fabulous. Um, my first life coach I ever hired, I hired a life coach when I was in grad school, and it was a very interesting time because I was living like a double life. I was this just like super high performer, go-getter in classical music. I was crushing auditions. I was just like up at 5 a.m. I was working three jobs to pay my way through school, like getting my ass kicked by some of the most powerful, successful musicians in the world. And then also like partying my face off and like deep in addiction. Um, and I remember halfway through grad school, I hired my first life coach, and it was like before life coaches were like trendy and cool. And I remember I didn't tell anybody because it was like, I don't know if I was like, maybe I was embarrassed about it at the time, but it was almost like this secret of like how obsessed I was with being my best self, like personal development. And I remember in one of like the first couple sessions. Um and honestly, like I remember this specifically. I was paying $50 an hour for this life coach. Um which in the grand scheme of things is obviously not very much money. It was like 10 years ago at this point. More than that. Wow. It was like 12 years ago at this point. That was a lot of money for me at the time because, I was making between $7 and $9 at the YMCA at the time, just like, and that to me, that was like a high earning wage. I was like a manager of the whole swim lesson program. So I was needing to work like 6 hours to be able to pay for one session. So talk about investing in yourself, man. Um, I remember in one of the first three sessions, she brought up Byron Katie to me and it changed my life. But Byron Katie, her thing is you just look at them and you say thank you and no. And that's the end of it. Like no need to explain, no need to go over into like anything beyond that. Thank you and no. And it's so simple. Um, in my own experience, I've noticed, especially my boundaries with technology, which is the art of saying no. And when I'm sharing, I just want you to just be mining this whole episode for golden nuggets. Like, how does this apply to you? How does this apply to your life right now? What do you get to be saying no to? What do you get to be saying yes to? Every single time you say no to something, you're saying yes to yourself. You're saying yes to your soul mission. You're saying yes to your truth. You're saying yes to your destiny path. You're saying yes to you. Okay. And we have been programmed and trained in a society to people please. Okay. I grew up in the Midwest, people pleasing central. it's like, it's like people pleasing is like a religion in the Midwest. To interrupt that and to put your needs first and say yes to yourself and say no to everyone else, here's another quote for you. Be willing to disappoint literally everyone in your life except for yourself. If the one person you're not disappointing is you, then you've won the jackpot of, this game we call life, of spirituality. When you're in that deep alignment, that's when you will call in the correct people. That's when you will call in the correct opportunities. Okay, so the art of saying no. Boundaries. It's all about boundaries. This is the way I think about boundaries, as within, so without. Okay, and it's similar to manifestation, literally anything else. It's like the way your inner world is what's being reflected to you in your outer world. So if you're experiencing a lot of chaos in your outer world, it's because you have chaos within yourself. If you're experiencing a lot of judgment and hate in your outer world, it's because you have judgment and hate in yourself. Now, another thing about that is if you're a leader and here for New Earth, you will experience judgment and hate in ways that most people will not because you are a thought leader and you're here to raise consciousness. And that means that your freedom will be a direct affront and mirror for where other people are not free. And people are going to have some responses to that. All right. You've got to be okay with it and move on. Now, you can just get used to that. And it's just like an energetic thing that happens. I just went through a major initiation with that. The way this appears with boundaries is like the art of saying no. If you don't know how to say no to yourself, then you will not be able to say no to literally anyone else, to any opportunity, to any energy. If you don't have self-discipline and you can't say no to yourself. So like some examples are like delayed gratification. It's like, okay, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and it's like I went into the store, and if you know me at all, you know I love clothes, you know I love beautiful things, you know I love adorning my temple. Like honestly, it's a huge part of my spirituality. It unlocks my powers. Like this necklace I got in Sedona unlocked a whole new wattage of power for me and my spiritual gifts. Like it's actually incredibly, incredibly important. And it affects your aura and it affects the amount of light that you can reveal and what can enter your body. I went into this store and it's a luxury store, it's a luxury brand. It's what I love. And I wanted every single thing I tried on. Okay. If I had gotten every single thing I had tried on, my tab would have been over $10,000. Okay. For like 5 dresses and a bathing suit. Okay. So I did not get everything I wanted in that trip. I said, okay, I'm getting key things that are aligned with my, you know, that are aligned for me right now, that are expansive and they're aligned. Okay. And I had that self-discipline. And I said, you know, when you meet your next financial goal, when you meet these numbers, when you meet this, that's going to be your celebration, you know? And so I said no to myself. Okay. I followed through on my commitment to me. Same thing with like boundaries and food and doing uncomfortable things or interrupting a pattern. Like if you don't hold the line within yourself, like if you're someone who says, "Hey, I'm gonna like let's just use food for example because food is the most homogenizing force on the planet that nobody talks about." Um, Saying no to family recipes was like one of the biggest initiations of my life and because people had responses to it and I was like, you know, this food makes me sick. I'm not going to eat it. I want to enjoy family time with everyone. This doesn't mean that I don't love you. Also, no, I'm not eating this. And it took a long, you know, it was a process for everyone involved. Years later, it's totally normal. And I said no because I had that boundary within myself. Like, I'm not eating gluten. I'm not eating dairy. I'm not eating this because it hurts my body. So if I knew that it hurt my body and then I did it anyways, that's an example of having zero boundaries and you don't know how to say no to yourself. And what you're really saying no to is instant gratification. And you're saying yes to long-term blessings, yes to long-term health, yes to the truth of your soul. Okay, so with the art of saying no, I mean, as within, so without. If you don't have the self-discipline and you cannot say no to yourself, that's the first thing you've got to work on before you even really start playing the game of saying no in your outer world with mastery. Now, with saying no, most people allow themselves to be hijacked by false emergencies of other people as a way to avoid the uncomfortable things that will push your life dreams and the needle forward. So, saying no in a society that praises you, honestly, people get rewarded for self sacrifice and people pleasing. Saying no is a radical act. Okay. It's not your problem. Other people's stuff is not your problem. Okay. You might, it might feel aligned for you to help at a certain time in a certain way. However, if someone barrels into your life, and bumbles into your life and comes in with a text, with a call, with an email like, "Oh, I got to do this now." It's like, do you let them hijack your day? Do you let them hijack the mission? Like do you let them hijack the plan you had to push your stuff forward and your priorities forward or do you hold the line and say no? You've got to say no. And one of the best ways to say no is just you don't respond. You don't let people, and I have a really, really firm boundaries with tech. And this is one of the key elements behind my sustained success in every arena that I enter. It's because I don't let my days get hijacked by the scroll. I have a digital Sabbath that I have done for 8 years now. Like, I really don't do that much email. The email that I do is I send things out. And then, like, if you're my client, I'll email you. Or, like, if we're, you know, I have a certain energetic filtration process. Um, However, there are thresholds to get to me. Not everybody gets to have my phone number, you know? Um, and like even my family, I've trained them like, hey, me not responding is normal. Remember the 90s when you'd just be gone and you just wouldn't call someone back for like 5 days? That's okay. It doesn't mean I'm dead in a ditch somewhere. It means I'm not available. So you've really got to protect the asset, and the asset is you. And it's an art, right? It's not about walking through life and flipping the bird to everyone all day. It is about my life is a masterpiece and it gets to be protected. And I say no. And every time I say no, I say yes to myself. So this is what I want you to do. And this is a kind of a fun game. But a lot of times I'll rack up a lot of notifications. It's like, oh, you have like this many emails or this many texts or this many DMs and blah, 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 blah. And I look at those little, the little red dot with the bubble and or the red bubble with the number in it and it tells you how many messages you have. I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's how many times I chose myself. That's how many times I chose my mission. That's how many times I chose my presence with Creator. That's how many times I said yes to me and no to the infiltration of the external world. And I just pause and I take a breath and I say, "Hey, I love you and I'm proud of you." I say that to myself because that's important and it's radical in our world. It's radical. So people a lot of people won't like when you say no. It's not your problem. You just get to take that off your plate. What is your, problem or a different, more expansive way to say it is what's your responsibility is the way you say no and maintaining the energetic hygiene of your life. It's really, really important. So the art of saying no is like, how do you say no? How do you say no? When do you say no? It can be very simple, like the examples I shared. Just say thank you and no. You can have like a blanket email or auto respond or like a paragraph that you just copy paste. And it could read something like this, like, thank you so much for taking the time to reach out. Like, I really appreciate the care and consideration you've given. I have a lot of prioritized projects that I'm committed to. And because I'm fully committed, it means I say no to almost everything else. So my answer is no at this time. And I'm so excited to see if we could click together in the future. Like, only if you want to click in the future, though. Like, just be direct and be clear. Remember, clear is kind. So, the way to say no with technology is no response, is very, very simple. Okay. Another one that's very, very clear that I've used, especially when someone is, this happens less and less. And I think it's powerful for everyone is like, I have something I've said, just like a one liner is like, I have previous commitments I'm unwilling to break. Because when you say like, oh, I have previous commitments, like something that people have said to me before, where they'll be like, oh, just this one time. And I'm like, I'm unwilling to break my commitment. Now there's a difference between it's like, okay, someone in your inner circle calls you and it's like an actual emergency. Okay, that's something different. It's not about going through life and having like a hardened heart. It is about having pristine energetic command and hygiene of your life, what gets to access you, what you're pouring your heart into, what you're pouring your energy into, what you're pouring your soul into, okay? Something that I recently said no to for myself is pulling back actually on the Friday Fire episodes on the podcast. Because, first of all, and it's not that I didn't love doing them, I always loved doing them. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, I'm a little idea factory. I have so many ideas, literally all day, every day. So much is coming through my channel. And I'm focusing more deeply on other aspects of my mission, on other aspects of what it means to move the needle forward. Think like deeper ways to increase my impact, to increase, my client load, to increase my cash flow, like all of these things. I was like, I absolutely love the podcast and I'm always going to do a weekly episode. And I'm just going to lean back from Friday Fire for a little bit now, and that's okay. And may I do Some every once in a while when I feel the fire coming through me, yes. And what am I prioritizing? My paid client spaces, because that's what moves the needle forward for the mission, is being in high proximity mentorship with elite high performers. Like my clients are top, it's a top down trickle effect. Like all of our work impacts every single life they touch, impacts thousands and thousands of lives, and the ripple of light is like so amazing and magnificent. So that's just another way, that's just an example, but like it's an art form. It's an art. It's a dance. And remember, art is your creation. You get to create how you say no, when you say no, and just remember that every time you say no, you're saying yes to yourself. Another key element of the art of saying no is I want you to discover what the no is in your body. Okay, we all have a built-in GPS of our intuition that will tell us an obvious yes or no when you're in sync. Okay, key when you're in sync. Two ways you will never ever know your intuition, let alone obey its messages, okay? First, if you've never done consistent nervous system reset, I guarantee trauma is blocking you from your intuition. 1,000%. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients, and some of the biggest feedback, and honestly, one of the biggest feedback I got from someone that was at the Sedona retreat is she's like, I actually know what my intuition feels like in my body now for the first time in my life. And this person was almost 60 years old. And that goes to show you that, first of all, it's never like no matter what age you are, like your human age doesn't matter. Okay, you're on your divine assignment. Um, and it shows the power of in-person work. And it's like if you don't go to the root of things in the cells of your body, you will never ever be able to access your intuition because you will never be in a state of deep, deep, deep peace. Your body will be in hypervigilance mode, which automatically makes you not connected to your intuition, which automatically makes you not connected to your yes or your no. Okay. The other thing that will block you is the scroll. If you're constantly scrolling the noise of the news and the external inputs, that's going to drown out any intuitive hit you're getting. So you've got to relentlessly be cultivating, okay, what's the difference between intuition and fear? What's a no in my body? What's a yes in my body? This is going to be, there's key things for you in your astrology that are going to help you. There's key things for you in your human design that are going to help you with this. But it's like, you've got to be relentlessly cultivating this. And if something doesn't fall into one of the categories, yes or no, um, you've got to tune into your body for the answer. Okay. If something's a maybe, first of all, there's no such thing as fuck maybe. It's either fuck yes or fuck no. One of my teachers said that once, and I was like, that's brilliant. If something feels like a maybe, it's because you have not dropped deeply into your awareness yet enough to receive the clear answer. And so that's on you to drop in. Okay. If something's a maybe, one of the rules I play by is if it's a maybe, then it's usually an automatic no. If something's a maybe, then it's a no. And there's nuance here, and there's a lot, there's a lot of like case by case, like a lot of stuff with like relationships and energy. And it's like, okay, if you're, on the second date with someone, you're not going to know if you want to marry them yet. However, you are going to know like, hey, do I want to go on the next date? Like I'm not saying, and that's not what I'm talking about. You've got to be in this cultivation though. So here's another thing that's really important for the art of saying no, and something I talk about a lot and teach on a lot and help my clients with a lot is deleting as many decisions as possible. So we don't live in a world of decision fatigue. What happens is a lot of people make fake decisions and then they live their days like, am I going to do this? I'm going to do that. One foot in, one foot out, one foot in, one foot out. Oh, am I going to do it or am I going to not? It's like, no, that's called a fake decision. That's why you're so tired and fatigued because you made a fake decision and you're, negotiating all day, every day about like who you are and what values you have. Decision. Make the decision. Okay. We're deleting as many decisions as possible. Coming back to that rule that Gary Keller, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? Okay. If you must create your own rules and play by them. Create your rules and play by them. So I want you to make a playbook, okay? You're going to have key rules and decisions, and they're things you decide once, and it simplifies your life, okay? Here's a key decision I made in terms of saying no. I don't know what it is, like in the spiritual space, but like when I first started out, a lot of people were wanting to do trades. It's like, oh, let's trade sessions. Like, I'll give you a Reiki and like you can do breath work for me. And I'm just like, I don't do trades. I don't do trades. I do commerce. I do, my business is the ceremony that holds my vision, that I channel my gifts through. Like, I don't do trades. Okay. And that was a one-time decision I made. And so literally anytime anyone asks me about that, I'm like, I don't do trades. And it's very easy. I decided it a long time ago. It takes zero effort. And I just say no, okay? And so you're going to create categories and circumstances. So you have like, what you're going to do is you're going to create like an official statement that protects your values, your priority, your peace, your prosperity, and your happiness above all else. So it's like I want you to think about circumstances that come up where you're like, yeah, when people ask this, this is my response. Like when people ask this, my answer is no. When people ask this, my answer is yes. So I call it categorical yes and categorical no. It's just you just delete things automatically off your plate. Now, I have little asterisks where it's like, okay, if a client, if they're a client and they ask this, then blank. If they're this, like there's things that I'll do for clients that I would never do for a random person walking down the street, right? Or like someone who has never invested in this work with me. It's like having those categories of yes and no is really, really, really powerful, and it protects your brain power. It protects your mental bandwidth. It's like you don't need to be deciding about these things. You can just decide them in advance, choose your rules, and play by the rules and protect the rules. Okay? Having rules and not playing by them doesn't mean you have rules. It means you have fake rules. It means you made a bunch of rules to make yourself feel better, and then you're too scared to uphold the rules, right? Here's the thing about freedom. Freedom is not a free for all. Freedom is I decide to play by the rules, the energetic laws of the universe. I make my own rules and I play by those rules. It's not about having zero structure. That's called chaos. That's called the wounded feminine, where it's like, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm a free spirit. And I'm like, cool. How's that working out for you? Like, are you making dreams? Are you pushing your goals forward? Are you channeling wealth? Like all of these things, like you've got to have rules and play by them. Like when we think about the feminine and masculine energy, the feminine is the water, the masculine is the glass. We can have feminine all day long, but it's like we can't drink water without a glass. We got to have the glass, man. And then obviously, like we don't need the glass if there's no water. They both work together, but it's like you got to have rules and play by them. The cool thing is you make up the rules, right? So all of this, the art of saying no, it's like it is an art. And the way I say no might not be the way that you say no. However, you've got to say no a lot more. You got to say no to yourself so you can say yes to the truth of your soul. You've got to have boundaries, you've got to have standards, you've got to say no to mostly everything so you can say the full, whole body yes to the correct opportunities, people, experiences, projects that are actually meant for you, right? So you're protecting the asset, you, your brain, your mind share, your art. Okay. And here's the final thing I want to share is like, you can always you can always circle back. Let's say you say no to something and then, time transpires, you get more information. Um, one, by the way, another way that you could say no is like with the information I have right now, if you truly are like, it's a no now, it might be a yes in the future, you can say, in this current moment, it's a no. However, reach out to me again in 2 months, 3 months. Like, here's the biggest thing I want you to know. You can always circle back and reopen a portal. Backing out after saying an unaligned yes is like excruciating. So if you say yes to a project and then you like get like 2 weeks into it and you're like, oh my God, this is actually a hard no, and like this is super unaligned, like that is a major ouch for like backing out. That is it's a lot harder to undo an incorrect yes than it is to say no and then circle back later and be like, actually, my red light turned into a green light. Like, let's go. That's a lot different. So, these are my thoughts on the art of saying no. This is how I think about saying no. It's why it matters. Every single time you say no, you're saying yes to yourself. It really is about filtration and high performance and being elite and only allowing it is truly just living, having a high standard and like energetic hygiene for your life and for your heart and for your soul and what you're doing and what you're choosing and what gets to enter your field. And this is a radical act in itself because we live in a society of instant gratification where it's like people expect you to text back like 5 minutes. It's like people in my life know about me. It's like you're either getting a text back like immediately or several days later. I've gotten better about setting times where it's like certain times of day I check my texts. And I do this with Voxer with my clients. I do this with email. However, I'm rarely like email for me is more like my medium of like sharing things. Lori, my assistant, she really does a lot of the, admin scheduling stuff. So, and that even in itself is like having an assistant is the art of saying no because it's like, okay, this is not my zone of genius. I'm not going to put my energy here. I'm going to say no to this so I can say a bigger yes to my clients, to my creativity, to my content, to growing the mission that I came here to grow on this planet in such a fated time. So it's really, really, really important. Like, and people will not like your no, however, they will respect it. You will not believe how many people have told me over the years, they're like, I wish I could do that. They're like, wow, I respect that. I wish I could do that. And my response is always, you can absolutely do this. People won't like it, but people will respect it. And then you'll inspire them. And then who even knows? Like maybe later in the day, someone tries to put something on their plate and they say no because you showed that it's okay and actually really important to say no. And then that changes the whole trajectory of their day, trajectory of their week, trajectory of their life. You literally have no idea. So this is leadership in itself. It's you leading yourself with no, and then you leading yourself, other people see you doing it, you lead them. You know what I mean? So this is today's episode. I love this topic. Thank you for being here. Go out there and say no. And yeah, it's just an amazing time to be alive. And it's such an exciting time for New Earth. And one of the biggest things we get to say no to together is chaos and the lies of darkness that are just running rampant on the planet right now. Like, something that I've experienced a lot of flack for, even in the past like 48 hours, is me just like not participating in the conversation about like war and everything. If you want to hear some of my perspectives on that astrologically, go to my episode Summer 2025 Astrology, Accelerated Abundance and Revolution. Like, it's obvious in the stars, like, we're in a time of revolution. The war is not surprising. It's very alarming for people who have not studied and have not trained for this moment. And something I get to say no to is all of the drama and chaos and all of that because I'm doubled down on my mission more than ever. Like, being unbothered does not mean that you don't care. It means you care the most because you refuse to be pulled off track on your path for the light. Okay? So I feel like that's really important to say, especially in this episode about saying no, because I'm saying no. I'm categorically saying no to the conversations of politics, of, left or right, of like any kind of just like it's all a distraction. It's all a dark force distraction. It's not about bypassing. It's like, wow, the planet is crying out in pain. I'm gonna double down. So that's what I'll say about that. But I've definitely experienced a lot of judgment, hate, interesting things happening online. Oh. And you know what? It's a privilege to play the game. There's a lot of people, and this is another thing that I think about a lot. Like, how dare I ever choose fear? I'm safe. I live in a safe home. I have a bank account with money in it. I have food in the fridge. I literally have no excuse to choose fear when there's actually people in war zones that cannot do this work. So that's another thing to think about that you get to say no to are the crazy thoughts of fear in your head that are lies. When if you're listening to this podcast, I guarantee you are more privileged and set up to do amazing things than most people in the globe. So you really have no excuse to choose fear. You have every reason to fly and thrive. So say no to those little voices of lies that pop up every once in a while. If you want to go deeper into this work, you know what to do. The links to everything are in the show notes. Pull the trigger now. You know, spoiler alert, you're going to die. Make sure you go all in. So if you're feeling the call to work with me, do it. Like, I cannot wait to ride with you, and it's an honor to ride with all of the high performing mystics who are truly building New Earth right now. So, if you want to be my client and get in my world, links to everything are in the show notes. I'm filling the spots for the next retreat, Mount Shasta, in the fall. The link to that is in the show notes as well. All right, go out there, be the change, be the light, be the real you, make a stranger smile, say no. Practice the art of saying no so you can say yes to the things that really matter. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne. By the way, say yes to a better world. Woohoo!